हरि ओम. Venkateshwaran Gopala, would you like to chant the Gita Dhyana Shloka?
Madam, yes.
Please go ahead.
पार्थाय प्रतिबोधिता भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराण मुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो भोक्ता गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं हंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजना गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुलाः अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवै रणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा संबोधन बोधिनि बोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदै प्रहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमलध्वंसिन श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतस्तुवन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। हरि ओम्।
हरि ओम. धन्यवाद. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. ॐ परं वरिष्ठं ब्रह्मिष्ठं परमानन्दरूपिणं परमार्थानन्दयतिं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. So Lord Krishna has come to the last pair of topics in the form of Purushaha and Prakriti, and these two have to be treated together because they function as a complementary pair, right? Like a couple they function. So this topic is from verse 20 to 24, 5 verses, and in the last class we saw some of the details. So Purushaha is the consciousness principle without change, attribute or division, and matter in its fundamental form known as Prakriti is endowed with change, attributes and division. Somebody says there is no audio. Is that a problem? Can you text me back or put it up in the question section? So the consciousness matter principle together, right, is called Ishvara or Bhagavan, right? So basically it is a mixture of Purushaha and Prakriti, which is Ishvara or Bhagavan. So in Hinduism, definition of Bhagavan is consciousness plus matter mixture, right? And they have several common features and they have several uncommon features also. Uncommon features we saw three. One is changeless, another is changing, one is attributeless, another is attribute with attributes, one is divisionless, another is subject to division. So these are the contrasting features, but they also have two common features. What are they? Both of them are beginningless or anadi, right? That is matter and consciousness. The matter is never created, right? Consciousness also, according to Vedanta, is never created. So anaditvam is the first common feature. The second common feature is both of them put together function as the cause of the entire universe. Therefore, causality, karanam status is common to both. So consciousness is also called karanam, matter is also called karanam, because together they become the cause of the universe, and we should, make note of this, right? That consciousness by itself can never become a karanam. Matter also by itself can never become a karanam. As a pair, they become a karanam, something like a male and female of any species, right? Male alone cannot father a child, and father alone can't. Male and female both on their own cannot father or have a child, right? So parenthood is because of the combination only. Similarly, the combination matter and consciousness become the karanam of the universe, right? So, but the difference is that consciousness remains the same, universe evolves. So before the evolution of universe also consciousness has been there changelessly, all pervading. It has always been there, right? It is like space, right? The nearest example, and which is discernible, right, is that it is like space. So the other factor, Prakriti, which is subject to change, Prakriti alone evolves to a universe based on the law of karma. Because whenever we are talking about evolution of the Prakriti, we must remember that we are only talking about the current evolution. Before this evolution also Prakriti was there in the form of universe, and the universe was there in the form of Prakriti, right? So universe again becomes Prakriti, Prakriti becomes universe. That's all. It is an eternal process of evolution, dissolution, right? So it is a cyclic process which is beginningless, right? So the current one is what we keep talking about as creation. Before the current one, we have had infinite number of evolutions and dissolution. And the point to note is the current evolution is based on the law of karma, which is based on countless number of srishtis, right? So evolution, according to Taittiriya Upanishad, takes place initially in the form of 5 elements. Akashat, Vayuhu, Vayoragnihi, then from Agni, Jalam, Apaha, then Prithvi. So then these 5 elements combine in various proportions, and the combined form of elements alone becomes the Bhautika Prapancham. We saw this in detail in Introduction to Vedanta in the creation chapter. Okay, I request you to go and revise that, because if I start that again now, I won't be able to proceed with Gita at all, right? So please revise the chapter, the session that I did on creation. Okay, so Bhautika Prapancha consists of all the 14 lokas and it is made up of Pancha Bhutani. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jalam and Prithvi. Right? So whether it is mountain, whether it is river, whether it is our body, any living being, everything is an evolute of Prakriti only. Right? So therefore our body is made up of what? Only Pancha Bhautikam. So it is Bhautikam Shariram. Right? So the Panchabhutas make up our Shariram. Right? Not only body is product of Prakriti, the sense organs are also product of Prakriti. Our mind is also a product of Prakriti. Right? The other day somebody was asking me about mind. Right? According to Shastra, the mind is also a subtle form of matter. Right? And it is supposed to reside in the Hridayam. Right? Whereas the Buddhi is generally associated with intellect. But in general, what the Shastra, the Gurus say is, you don't get too much into the semantics of the Buddhi, Manas, etc. Just look at all four together as Antakarana, being the Antakaranam. That is the Manas, the Buddhi, the Chittam, and the Ahankara or the ego. Chittam being the memory faculty. Okay. So mind is also a product of Prakriti. Intellect is also a product of Prakriti. Thus the world, the body, the mind, the sense organs, all of them are born, right? But they themselves being material nature, they don't have a sentiency of their own, right? By itself, body is insentient. Mind is also insentient. They're all what? Jadam, right? Achetanam, sense organs also, right? So in Vedanta, we saw after evolution of all these things, what happens to consciousness? Consciousness does not undergo any change, right? It continues to be changeless, divisionless, all-pervading. But after the creation of the body-mind complex, the all-pervading consciousness is available enclosed within the body-mind complex also. It's exactly like the potter. When he's creating the pot, he doesn't have to do anything to actually put space into the pot, right? When he's creating. When the pot gets created, the pot space also gets created. He doesn't invite the space to come and occupy, right? So it's exactly like that. The pot space is formed as the pot is formed, right? And how many pot spaces will be formed? As many pots are there, those many pot spaces will be there. Thus, if we have infinite number of bodies, infinite number of enclosed in consciousness you will have, or the Chaitanyam will get enclosed everywhere. We should never say that Chaitanyam gets divided into so many bodies. No, because Chaitanyam is without division. It is exactly like space. Can we divide the space? We cannot, right? Similarly, we don't divide the Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam is enclosed in every living being also, right? So there is no gap between inside space and outside space, right? Similarly, even consciousness, there is no gap, except that between two bodies, there is no medium for it to manifest, right? That's all. So space is inside, space is outside. Space is there in every place, in our room, in the next room, etc. Right? It is one continuous entity. The wall has seemingly divided that space. It is not actually dividing, right? So the all-pervading space is seemingly divided into many enclosed spaces, right? So similarly, our consciousness also, right? So we extend the same principle to consciousness. So the all-pervading consciousness is seemingly divided and it is available in every body as enclosed consciousness, exactly like the pot space, right? So the enclosed consciousness, Purushaha, is given the name Kshetrajnaha. That is the importance of that word Kshetrajnaha. Now you will remember this enclosed consciousness is referred to as Kshetrajnaha, right? While the all-pervading consciousness is referred to as Purushaha, the same consciousness, right? So in this chapter itself, we used the word earlier, Kshetrajnaha, for the consciousness in the body. And the all-pervading consciousness is called Purushaha, right? So when I say, right, I am experiencing the world. The experiencer is consciousness principle or inert principle? I am the experiencer when we say it is not the inert principle, but it is the enclosed consciousness which was earlier called Purushaha. I alone am now called Kshetrajnaha. I alone am called Jivatma. That enclosed consciousness, I am the experiencer of this inert material universe. Very subtle. We must follow it very carefully. Okay. So the same Purushaha which is enclosed within me, right, is referred to as Kshetrajnaha or Jivatma, and I am the experiencer of the inert material universe. First, I experience the mind itself, right? My mind is my most intimate object. I'm able to experience my mind. Am I not able to experience? I'm able to experience the thoughts that are arising in my mind. I'm able to experience the emotions that are arising in my mind. Then who is the experiencer of all those, right? It is I, the enclosed consciousness, right? So first I experience my mind with the consciousness, and I experience my own sense organs with the help of my mind, right? So without the mind, the sense organs can never function as sense organs, right? So remember this example that I gave. Suppose we are sitting in front of the computer and listening to this class, and you're staring at the monitor or the the screen, okay, and my voice is here going into your ears, right? But if your mind is not behind the ears, you might have heard everything for 1 hour, but you wouldn't register anything. Why? Because the mind has not been behind the ears. So it is the mind which makes you experience the world through the sense organs, right? So with the help of the mind, I experience the sense organs. With the help of mind and sense organs, I experience the entire world. Thus, as I wake up, I am aware of the mind, then the sense organs, through them the world, right? So what is the common thing? All these three are inert matter. I, the consciousness, bless them and thus experience, right? So these three, basically mind, sense organs, world, right? They're all Prakriti. They're all modifications of Prakriti. I, the experiencer, the Purushaha itself, enclosed in the body, available as Kshetrajnaha, Sakshi or Jivatma, right? All three are synonyms, okay? So Lord Krishna says here, Prakriti's contribution is the experienced world. When you say experienced world, inclusive of our own body-mind complex. Purusha's contribution is experiencing Jivaha. So Prakriti's contribution is experienced world, and Purusha's contribution is the experiencer Jivaha. That is what is said here. It is such a deep, teaching which is coming up now. So continuing. कार्यकरणकर्तृत्वे कार्यकरणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते karya karana kartrutve, right? There is also another reading karya karana kartrutve. Both readings are okay, but the reading we are taking for the facility of understanding is karya karana. Karyam meaning physical body, contextual meaning here is physical body, and karyam and all the physical bodies are referred to here, and karanam means the inner instruments consisting of the sense organs of knowledge, sense organs of action, and the antakaranani, the inner organs. So pancha karmendriya, pancha jnanendriya, and the antakaranani. That is what is referred to as karanam, right? So they are all instruments of emotion, thinking, analyzing, studying, remembering, right? They are all done by the inner organs called the antakaranam. So karyam means body, karanam means the mind, or basically the sthula sukshma shariram. Both of them are created again. Both of them evolve out of what? Right? They evolve out of matter, prakriti only, right? Therefore, we should know that body is also matter, right? Which means it is jadam, achetanam. Mind is also matter. Therefore, both of them are achetanam, whether it is body, which is mind, or the universe. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, Prakritihi hetuhu uchyate, right? The world has evolved out of Prakriti. Body has evolved out of Prakriti. Mind has evolved out of Prakriti. Sense organs are evolved out of Prakriti. All of them being evolutes of Prakriti, they are by themselves Jadam only. Therefore, none of these can experience anything, right? Because matter being inert, it cannot experience. Therefore, you require an experiencer principle for the transactions of life to go on. An experiencer principle is required. The experiencer has to be consciousness or inert, right? It has to be consciousness principle. And where is that consciousness coming from, right? Krishna has already said, right, before. The evolution of all these, there was consciousness. It was always there, right? It is all pervading and eternal. So before the evolution of body mind complex, the same consciousness was available, right? And within the body mind also, it is available as enclosed consciousness now, right? So it's exactly like I said, space, right? Now that's why, like when you buy a plot of land, you cannot do griha pravesham, because unless you construct the walls, you can't put the space to use, right? Only when you build the walls, the enclosed space comes up, and then the enclosed space is useful, right? Similarly, after all the bodies have evolved, the same consciousness is available as enclosed consciousness. That one alone is called Jivatma, right? Paramatma was the name earlier. Now the very same Purusha has become Jivatma. Now I am the Chaitanyam within the body mind complex, right? I am not the body, I am not the mind, but I am the experiencer available within every body. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, Purushaha, right? The original consciousness becomes the individual living being, the experiencer. And what does the individual experiencer, the Jivatma experience? Bhoktritve sukha dukkhanam. He is the experiencer of all the pleasurable and painful conditions belonging to Prakriti, not Purusha, Prakriti. Okay? Prakriti. Pain belongs to Prakriti, the body only. All the pains, pleasures, which are all different conditions of Prakriti only. They are experienced, aware by the Purusha Tattva. Right? Purusha does not have any pain, right? It's exactly like light. It reveals the dirt on the floor, but the light itself is not dirty. This revealer of dirt, right, is not dirty. So revealer of pain is not pain and does not have pain, right? This Purusha becomes the Sakshi Chaitanyam, becomes within double quote, right? So Purusha Sukha Dukkhanam, all the Sukham and Dukkham are attributes of the body mind complex. So he is the awarer, the Purusha, right? That is why in Shankaracharya's well-known Vedantic meditation chant, Nirvana Shatkam, right? We say, Name Dvesha Ragau, Name Lobha Mohau, Madho Naiva Me Naiva Matsarya Bhavaha, Na Dharmo Na Charto Na Kamo Na Moksho Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham Shivoham. I have no attachment or aversion, no greed or delusion, no envy or vanity, right? No duty, no acquisition, no desire, right? No, nor liberation do I aspire for. I am the embodiment of knowledge and bliss. Shivoham, Shivoham, right? I am of the nature of auspiciousness, consciousness. So all the different conditions belong to Prakriti, right? Attributes belong to Prakriti, right? So what does the Purusha do? Light, like the light illumining, Purusha only illumines. And Lord Krishna wants to say, you are that Purusha. He wants to say, Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktrutve, right? Meaning, you are experiencing, revealing, and illumining. If you remember the third capsule of Vedanta, it's a long time since I spoke about it. I used to speak a lot in the initial days and also in Introduction to Vedanta. The third capsule of Vedanta is, by my mere presence, I experience the body and the world. Let me show you the 5 capsules of Vedanta as summarized by Swami Paramarthananda. Very, very useful when we want to invoke our higher nature. I am the nature of eternal and all-pervading consciousness. I am the only source of permanent peace, security, and happiness. By my mere presence, I give life to the material body, and through the body, I experience the material universe. I am not affected by anything that takes place in the material world and in the material body. By forgetting my real nature, I convert life into a struggle, and by remembering my nature, I convert life into a sport or entertainment, right? So here it is the third capsule, right, that we are speaking about, right? Very important third capsule. By my mere presence, I experience the body and the world, right? Then what happens? All the problems happen as long as I understand. All the problems happen as long as I identify myself with the Prakriti or the body mind complex. If I remember and claim that I am the unaffected Purusha, then I don't have any problem, right? But we successfully commit the mistake of identifying ourselves with Prakriti, right? And we refuse to get out of it. And Upanishad says, Uttishtata, Jagrata, right? So just as a dreamer who is suffering from nightmares, right, and is screaming in dream, and the mother is trying to wake up, right, the child, right? Similarly, Vedanta is trying to wake us up. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapya Varan, Nibodata, right? You are not the mortal body. You are the immortal Purusha. Using the mortal body, you are just experiencing this world. Using the body is harmless, but taking the body to be myself is maha harmful, right? So these capsules are very useful for us to invoke our higher nature from time to time, right? So continuing, Purusha Prakritisto hi, Purusha Prakritisto hi, Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan, Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan, Karanam Guna Sangosya, Karanam Guna Sangosya, Sadasadyo Nijanmasu, Sadasadyo Nijanmasu. Purushaha, this all-pervading consciousness, Prakritistaha. Here the word Prakriti means Kshetram, the body. Because body is a product of Prakriti, body itself is called Prakriti here. Prakritistha means enclosed within the body and renamed, right, as Kshetrajnaha or Sakshi Chaitanyam. So Purushaha as the Sakshi Kshetrajnaha, Bhumte. Bhumte means changelessly experiences or illumines or reveals. Bhumte Gunan. Gunan means all the 3 gunas belonging to the body mind complex. Prakriti has got three gunas. Trigunatmika Maya. We saw all this in Introduction to Vedanta. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and all the products of Prakriti also will have 3 gunas, because the rule is Karana Guna Karye Anuvartante. Features of the cause will inhere in the product. Exactly like a parent and when those days they used to have many children, then you could actually see that the features were repeating, right, in the children, right? Today it's becoming a little rare to observe that, right? So exactly like that, the Karana's features will come in the cause. So Prakriti's guna will be there in all the objects of the world, right? So both of them, basically the Prakriti will contribute, or the Prakriti contributes to the products, and therefore it will inherit those characters. So Triguna will come, right? So if Prakriti has 3 gunas, products will also have 3 gunas. The balance will be different. In the inert world, Tamo guna is dominant, right? In body also, sometimes it is dominant, right? The Tamo guna. When you come to sense organs and mind, the Sattva guna becomes more and more. The knowing faculty increases, right? And these 3 gunas alone express in the form of 3 types of emotions, right? And all emotions are classified as either sattva, rajas, or tamo vikaraha, right? So even though mind is predominantly sattvic, we should note that mind has got percentages of rajas and tamas also. So Shastra says sattvika vikarat, or generally in the form. In the 14th chapter, actually we are going to see a lot about the guna trigunatmika, right? We are going to see about it, and we will discuss the triguna in very great detail, right? So now we see the sattva guna being experienced in the form of calmness and happiness. Rajoguna also, rajoguna expresses in the form of dukkham, and because there is high activity, and activity causes stress, more the activity, more the tension, faster and faster we are running, right? So that is why, right, when we are there, you see people who have more rajoguna, they will be fidgety, they will keep watching the time, etc., right? So because their mind is already thinking about the next program, right? They don't live in now. Actually, there is a book called The Power of Now, right? So there's so much importance about being mindful and living in the present, etc., right? So that comes out of extra rajoguna, right? The more active, then you are more stressed, and the impatience increases, and physical and mental diseases also come through it, right? So tamoguna expresses in the form of confusion or mohaha. Therefore Shankaracharya uses the term sukha dukkha mohatmaka vikaraha sattva rajas tamo vikaraha. Vikaraha means expression in the mind. Either I am calm, or I am tensed, or I am confused, right? So I don't know what to do, right? Therefore, these are all called Prakriti Jan Gunan, means all the emotions, Satvika, Rajasic, and Tamasic emotions, right? Here the word Gunan refers to emotions. Antakarana Vritti Vikaraha, right? Prakriti Jan, they are born out of Prakriti, because Prakriti alone has these 3 gunas, and from that all of them are born, and therefore the guna balance fluctuates basically. In the 14th chapter also we will see how this fluctuation happens and how it manifests, etc., right? So how people have different phases of hyperactivity, relative calmness, etc. So Purushaha is the consciousness, right? Is the experiencer, the illuminator, the revealer of all these changes, right? So consciousness remaining changeless, right? Exactly like the light principle, right? And on a stage, if you see a Bharatanatyam dance, say Tilana is going on, people are moving so fast, right? So with the illuminated light, our focus is on all the dancers moving fast and dancing, right? It's so dynamic, the movements, right? Only when the dance stops, right, then you see and notice the light on the stage, right? So the prakasha itself is all pervading and changeless all the time, right? So exactly like that, mind is like that auditorium where the lights are there, and thoughts are like the dancers, right? We in fact have this analogy in Panchadashi 10th chapter, right? Vidyaranya gives this example. So all kinds of thoughts are coming and going, right? And consciousness is like the light principle pervading all the thoughts, illumining all the thoughts, but itself undergoing no change, right? So then in Panchadashi, Vidyaranya says, right, after the drama is over, all the characters go away into the green room, right? So, and then you say now there is nothing on the stage. But when you say there is nothing on the stage, you still know that there is light which we miss, right? The all pervading light was always there and will be there also, right? So similarly in the mind, thoughts are there and I am aware. When there are no thoughts, the blankness is also, right? When it is there, I am aware. So the awareing principle is Purushaha. So bhunkte means awares, changelessly, illumines, experiences, right? The body mind part is basically Prakriti and the consciousness part is Purushaha. Thus every living being is a mix of Purushaha and Prakriti. Now, Vedanta's question is, which should I learn to claim as the real I? Right? And Krishna uses the word costume. In the second chapter of this Gita itself, we saw that Vasansi jirnani yata vihaya navani grinnati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. Body is a costume which was very, very fresh and bright for some years. But now it is getting faded due to a lot of wear and tear. The dress will have to be cast off. How long can one keep it? It has to be cast off. Therefore, the Prakriti part, the body part, is an incidental costume subject to arrival and departure. But I am the Purushaha behind the costume. So that is what Vedanta wants us to claim. Dehi nityamavadyoyam, dehe sarvasya bharata, tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi. In 230, chapter 2, 30th shloka, we saw Deha is anitya, right? Dehi means Purushaha, Kshetrajnaha, the changeless consciousness. That alone is there when this body is cast off, right? In the previous Janma, we had another body, and in the next Janma, we will have another body. Therefore, the continuity is the consciousness alone. I can never be this fleeting body, right? Because I'm using this word I continuously, right? And I am, right? Changelessly continuing in and through, right? The body. For instance, a very practical and relevant analogy which we can all relate to is our body, according to science, is replaced completely every 12 years or so. Every cell has been changed. The hair we have now, right? The skin, the nail, the bone, right? Everything, right? So everything is replaced, but I am still there continuously, right? So I am that continuously changeless consciousness behind this changing body-mind complex. So Vedanta says, when we say I am, the real meaning must be taken as Purushaha Kshetrajnaha only. Whoever does that is a wise person, but unfortunately, people are born with self-ignorance and continue to live with it, right? Instead of claiming I am the Purushaha, the experienced inert costume I claim as myself, right? So when the mind is emotional, what should I say? I should say my mind is emotional. And I'm the witness of this emotional mind. At least in my mind, I should be able to say that, right? But what do I say? I am emotional. I have transferred the emotional features of the mind to myself, right? To my original I, right? So through the mind, I identify with the sense organs also, and I say, I am hard of hearing. I say, I am deaf, right? Identifying myself with the sense organs, right? So through mind, I identify with the sense organs also. And then I say, I also identify myself with the body. I say, I am overweight. I have to diet, right? Then say, I belong to this Gotram. I am a male. I am a female. According to Vedanta, all these are solidified and condensed thick ignorance, right? What Gotram is the mind? In Mundakopanishad, we have this famous mantra, Yattad adreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshutram tadapani padam Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yad bhutayonim ripashyanti dhiraha. I don't have varna, ashrama, nothing, right? But I keep identifying with the body and keep identifying this with these, right? And further I identify through my body mind with the family, with my possessions, my professions, and I have ahankara, I have mamakara. Ahankara is identifying wrongly with the closer prakriti, that is body mind. Mamakara is identifying with the further prakriti, which is my son who is somewhere else living far away, right? There is a fire somewhere in California, so I get worried all the time, right? Because I am falsely identifying with the ahankara and mamakara, right? So this is all only costume, right? And once I mistake the costume as myself, the drama becomes samsara, right? So after, as Swamiji says, after coming to the green room also, you continue to cry, right? The wife of the hero is consoling him, saying, you know, I'm very much here, right? But he's continuing to sob because he is so much ingrained with the drama, right? And he's so engrossed, right? So Lord Krishna says he does not use such strong words, but he says the problem is taking body mind complex as ourselves, right? Guna sangaha. Guna here refers to Prakriti and the three gunas. Guna sango, sangaha, guna sangaha. They always go together. Identification and attachment, right? Sangaha means identification and attachment. So identifying and developing attachment is called ahankara, mamakara. The moment ahankara, mamakara comes, ragadvesha comes, right? And when ragadvesha comes, you have pains that come from raga dvesha, right? All kinds of problems, right? Helplessness, frustration, anger, everything, right? So if I am able to claim that I am not all these but the Kshetrajnaha or the Jivatma, then whatever happens, they don't affect me. I am Jivan Muktaha, right? So the Raga Dvesha doesn't impact the world. I do not give the world a hook, a capacity to disturb me by developing aham, mama, raga, dvesha. So therefore, who is responsible for samsara? We blame everyone, right? We blame fate. We say, office is not okay, my neighbors are not okay, right? So many things. But what Pujya Swamiji says is, Pujya Swamiji, Dayananda Saraswati says, you are the problem and you are the solution. Which you is the problem? Ignorant you is the problem. Wise you is the solution. Right? So this is the message. Guna Sangaha, identification with the body-mind complex is Karanam, is the cause for Janmasu, referring to birth-death cycle called Samsara. So here the word Janma means Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Marana cycle. Because Prakriti will always have the cycles of arrival and departure. And as long as I'm identified with Prakriti, this cycle of birth and death can never be avoided. But once I claim I am the Purushaha, right, then it has no birth, no death, right? Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Again, chapter 2, 20th verse, right? So much. That second chapter begins with the most abstract and highest knowledge. And then only Krishna comes down and starts explaining everything else. And that is why introduction to Vedanta becomes important prior to embarking on even chapter 2 of the Gita, right? So let anything happen to the body, I am untouched, right? So Janmasu is rebirth and Punarapi Maranam and Punarapi Maranam. And he says, this Janma you cannot avoid. Sometimes you can even be born and a lower Janma, right? Or you can be a celestial. Kathopanishad says you can even be a plant, right? Yoni manye prapadyante sharirattvaya dehinaha sthanumanyenu sayanti yata karma yata shrutam. According to the good and bad actions of the next birth, of this birth, the next birth can be even an animal or even a plant. According to Shastra, plant is also a living being. A human being can be born as a plant, right? So it is not linear thing. You can go up or you can come down, right? So it's exactly like the snake and ladder game. The snake and ladder game is there. The Paramapadam, the traditional Paramapadam is there to show us this, that you can all come back in your Janma and go up also, right? So therefore, right, Sat here means superior Janma, Asat means inferior Janma. All because of ignorance, you can get into this never-ending cycle. Continuing. उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. So, the all-pervading Purusha is available as Kshetrajnaha. Enclosed within the body, this Purusha himself gets several different names. So, in all these shlokas, you have to very carefully note that Purusha doesn't mean male, because sometimes we get into this confusion. It is not male, right? So, it is just indicating enclosed consciousness, right? The second line, Asmin Dehe, in this body, Muktaha is known by different names. Upadrashta, what are those, right? Upadrashta means close witness of everything happening inside. Intimate witness of everything happening inside in the form of thought in the mind. Upa means close, right? So because when you say witness, we think that witness is generally far away, right? Like an observer or impartial observer away from the event, right? Here it's not so, right? So here Lord Krishna says consciousness is not a distance, right? It is not at a distance witness staying above, right? But it is intimate with the mind. So Upadrishta and Anumanta cha. Anumanta means it permits all the organs to do its actions without stopping or without deliberately promoting. It is an impartial blessing principle. So Anumanta means the one who gives permission, right? That means what? When the mind is having unhealthy thoughts, consciousness will not report and address the mind. Oh mind, you're not supposed to do this, you're having wrong thoughts, etc. No. Consciousness is akarta, bhokta. It is just present, blessing the prakriti, but it does not stop anything, right? It neither boosts nor does it suppress, like the sunlight illumining all the good and bad activities happening on the earth. Sunlight does not ask the people, should I do this or should I do that? Just blesses, right? Anumanta, right? So it gives basically permission to all the organs to do their activities. Therefore, it is called Anumanta. Silent permitter, right? Supporter. Then Bharta. Bharta again, we should not take it as husband here, right? It is not husband, right? It is supposed to be a Bharta because consciousness alone. Purushaha is supposed to be Bharta because consciousness alone lends existence to the matter. It is a profound message, right? But it is not mentioned here. It is mentioned elsewhere in the Shastra. Matter is mithya, right? It does not have an existence of its own. Therefore, consciousness alone lends existence and sustains. Therefore, it is the sustaining principle, and therefore the next word that we see is bhokta, right? Bhokta means the experience of the world of everything. Bhokta means experiencer of the world, right? So consciousness by itself cannot experience anything, even though it is all pervading, even though it is there in the wall, etc. So now it cannot experience anything, right? Therefore, consciousness mind mixture alone is called experiencer, right? Just exactly like the fan, right? It also has pure electricity, but without electricity, the fan, you cannot experience its real functioning. Similarly, without the fan, electricity also cannot be experienced directly, right? So the mixture alone is doing that job. Similarly, consciousness with mind together is the experiencer of the world. Therefore, both can be called experiences, right? So we must understand that is why it is being referred to here as bhokta. Mind is considered to be an experiencer in association with the consciousness. Mind is supposed to be an experiencer by undergoing change. Therefore, the mind is called a changing experiencer. In contrast, the consciousness is called the changeless experiencer. So this is Savikara Bhokta, the mind, and the consciousness is Nirvikara Bhokta or Nirvikara Drashta, right? So exactly like, as I said, the fan and electricity example is a very good example. Remember this, right? So the mind is the Savikara Bhokta and consciousness is Nirvikara Drishta, right? So Shankaracharya adds a note here. Bhokta, you should add an objective, right? Adjective here. The adjective should be what? It should be in association with the mind, right? Consciousness experiences. Therefore, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha, right? So, is the great Maheshwaraha, the greatest Lord who exists independently, Swatantraha, whereas Prakriti is not independently existent. Prakriti borrows existence from Purushaha. So that is the fundamental difference, very important, between science, modern science and Vedanta, right? For modern science, matter is fundamental and consciousness is something which depends on matter. That's why modern science is called materialistic science, because for them, fundamental is matter. Consciousness is something which temporarily comes and goes depending on what, right? It is born out of matter. Consciousness is sustained by matter. Matter, consciousness resolves into matter. If you say that you are a modern scientist, right, then it is basically materialistic philosophy. So what does Vedanta say? The same thing is reversed. Consciousness is fundamental. Matter raises, exists and resolves in consciousness. And therefore Vedanta is called a spiritual science. So the difference between spiritual, right, and this materialism, we should know the difference. For materialism or materialistic science, matter is primary and important. For spirituality, consciousness is primary, and therefore, which is Maheshwaraha here? Not matter. Consciousness is Maheshwaraha and Paramatmeti Chapyukto. This consciousness is known by another name called Paramatma. Parama means the supreme reality, which alone gives three things to the world. Paramatma alone gives three fundamental things to the world. What are the three things? Sat, right? Chit and Ananda. Existence, consciousness, and happiness, Ananda. So, consciousness is all the time available, but Ananda is available only now and then, right? Why is that? When our body-mind complex is conducive, the Ananda reflects, and then we are able to experience it, right? Therefore, it is called Paramatma, the supreme reality, iti uktaha, and that Paramatma is residing in Asmin Dehe, in this body. You need not go to Vaikunta, you need not go to Kailasha, right? You need not travel anywhere. As we chant in Shiva Manasa Puja, Atma Tvam Girijamati Sahacharaha Prana Shariram Griham. Body is the abode of Paramatma, right? That is why after Snanam, we do Alankaram, right? We keep Vibhuti, Kumkumam, etc. It is not for the body, it is meant for the Lord within, right? When somebody does Namaste, Namaha Te, right? We should remember that the higher principle in us is getting respected, right? It is not us, this body mind complex, but the higher principle, the consciousness principle, which is there in each one of us. That is what is getting revered or respected. Namaste, right? So The namaskara goes to the Paramatma residing in everyone, right? So asmin dehe paraha purushaha, the supreme purushaha is there, right? Very important verse here. Continuing. य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते all the spiritual sadhanas prescribed in all the scriptures are meant for what? Gaining this knowledge of Purusha and Prakriti only. Purusha Prakriti Viveka Jnanam or Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogaha. Yogaha means Jnanam. Vibhaga means the difference, Jnanam, right? The discriminative knowledge is the goal of all spiritual sadhanas, right? Because this knowledge is a liberating knowledge. Therefore, Lord Krishna talks about the benefit of this knowledge in this last mantra, in this section, right? Last mantra with regard to Purusha Prakriti topic. So, ya evam veti, that person who manages to know about Purusha and Prakriti before he dies. Obviously, the sadhana should start very, very early. To get a doctorate, we study 28, 29 years, right? So, Purusham Prakritim Chaiva, how? Along with all the gunas we have to learn, right? And with CAD, without CAD, CAD is what? Changes, attributes, and divisionless. We saw that, right? So, we have to learn that matter is subject to CAD, consciousness does not have these features, etc., right? So, to understand this, to discern this, it is a journey of multiple years of study, if not janmas, right? So, we have to go through that, right? So there is no process by which we can separate matter and consciousness and quickly understand. It has to be in the form of understanding only. It's a cognitive discernment, right? So it's exactly like my hand and the light. I see my hand, but when somebody asks, what do you see? I will say, I see my hand. I always miss the light in the hand because it is formless, it is changeless, it is divisionless, right? So similarly, body is there integrally with the body, consciousness is there, right? Consciousness is in the body, but it is not of the body. This Atma Anatma Viveka requires an extremely subtle intellect, and with such an intellect, whoever knows, Yaha evam veti purusham prakritim cha gunaihi saha, then one's perception of oneself will differ. Previously, I said I am the mortal body and I was worried about aging, right? The pains associated with it, right? And now I know I am not that disturbed mind. They all belong to Prakriti, the matter principle, and the self-revealing consciousness principle, right? I am actually that sentient, self-evident, self-revealing consciousness principle. Body will go, but I will never go. I can never go. I will continue to remain eternally. Now I am experiencing the world through this body. This body is a mortal one. It will go away after some time. Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuyaha. But even after the body goes, there are so many bodies continuously coming and going. Behind all of them, I am there. I am always there. Thus, the sense of mortality goes away. The sense of insecurity goes away. One of the expressions of samsara is a sense of insecurity, right? Right from birth, the child has that insecurity and continues all the way up to old age, and it only increases, right? So, the non-acceptance of the mortality of the body, right, is the biggest problem, right? So, we are not able to accept that I am the immortal Atma and that is our real nature, right? So after gaining spiritual knowledge, I know I am the immortal Purushaha and I am ready to accept the mortality of this body. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad pariharyete natvam shochitum arhasi. Again, second chapter, 27th verse, learn to distance yourself from this body. Distancing from the body gives me objectivity, and objectivity is acceptance of facts, and the fact is what? The body has to age and die. And Vedanta helps me in distancing myself. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, Sarvata Vartamano Api. A jnani gets out of the sense of insecurity, right? So whether he is a sannyasi jnani or a grihastha jnani or a bachelor jnani, brahmachari jnani, right? What varna, what ashrama he belongs to doesn't matter, right? Lord Krishna was not a sannyasi. Vyasa was not a sannyasi. One need not be a sannyasi. Anywhere we are, what is important is jnanam and the inner distancing, right? As Swamiji says, neighborization of all the problems. Neighborize all the problems you have. Then you will become a Jivan Muktaha. Treat it as happening to a neighbor, right? Your body, your mind, right? Your ahankara, mamakara, right? You might empathize with the neighbor. You will give a lot of advice. You can even be compassionate, right? But still, if you are able to neighborize your own problems, it helps you claim the higher nature. So spiritual knowledge is neighborizing our own body-mind complex and family, and understanding that it is also Prakriti subject to Desha, Kala and Prarabdha, right? Matter is subject to time, space and the law of karma. So Sarva Vartamanopi Saha Bhuyaha Abhijayate. If you ask a jnani, right, are you worried about rebirth, right? He will laugh. He says there is no birth itself. Where is the question of rebirth? Jnani is one who understands in reality na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Since I am ever immortal Purushaha, there is no question of fear of punarjanma. Therefore, saha bhuyaha abhijayate. He is never reborn because he is not born at all in the first place to be reborn. Right? So I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Any questions? Anybody has questions, you can raise your hand. I know again today was very deep. I would recommend that those of you who have not gone through Introduction to Vedanta, please definitely, try and catch up, because these portions of the Gita definitely require Introduction to Vedanta. Anybody has any questions? Okay. None. Okay. So please note that on Saraswati Puja Day, we will not be having class. So that is 25th October 2020. Hari Om. We'll stop the class now. We'll meet next week. Thank you. Dhanyavada.